Good Rockin' Tonight.
Hey, Mulligan, congratulations, a baby girl. We love it.
Thank you, David, very much. If you haven't heard the news, there's a new viewer in the family. This is Katie Mulligan, born Grammy morning, 6 a.m., mother and daughter, doing just fine. Thank you, father needs sleep and Rolaids. Welcome to Show 92. This is Good Rockin' Tonight. I'm Terry David Mulligan.
This is Nick Kershaw.
You do like the power of the video and what it's done for you? Or has it created...
If I be totally honest with you, I'd rather they didn't exist. But they do, and you have to be realistic about it. And you have to take a lot of interest in them, because otherwise it's a very easy way of getting misrepresented.
Are you there? Right. This is Good Rockin' Tonight, Canada's first network video show. I'm Terry David Mulligan. We have up for grabs 25 autographed Nick Kershaw Riddle albums. Here's Nick with your trivia question.
Right, here's your trivia question. The song from my first album appears on the soundtrack of the film The Slugger's Wife. Which song is it?
Our writing address is Good Rockin' Tonight, Post Office Box 4600, Vancouver, BC. Put Nick Kershaw's name on the outside to help us with this, because we get such a ton of mail here. And thank you for writing.
Hi, folks. I'm Bob. And I'm John, and we're from Supertramp. And have you heard the news? Have you heard the news?
I reckon.
There's good rocking tonight, folks.
Indeed.
Supertramp has left its mark on fans since 1972 here in Canada, and their self-titled first album. Superb albums followed. Crime of the Century, which sold over 1 million in Canada. Quietest Moments, 7 times platinum. Breakfast in America, also over 1 million in Canada. 8 albums in all, some 35 million records. And then, the best-selling band in Canada ran off the road last year. And I think we all kind of wondered what effect the departure of Roger Hodgson would have. I mean, after all, he's the guy who wrote the top 40 hits, and after 2 years' absence, Supertramp's answer is their 9th album, Brother Were You Bound. Canada obviously cares a great deal about this band, so that's why we thought we would get close to them, talk to John Helliwell and Bob Siebenberg, and find out how they endured these changes.
You know, because this last 2 or 3 weeks, we've been away in Europe and here, and the record's only just come out, so in the next few weeks we'll be talking to, you know, the man in the street, if I meet him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the man in the street?
Yes, of course I do. We could take you outside and meet
You got one here?
Yes, I do. I think one of the realities of Supertramp was that Roger wrote the hits, the big hits, the AM current hits. What was it like losing Roger?
I think there's another side to that, when the Supertramp album would come out, the new Supertramp album, it would be, and here's the new single from the new album by Supertramp, and all the media would be really tuned into the first single coming off the record, and that would usually be Roger, because his work was a bit more immediate and catchy.
Sure.
And then we would slide out Rick's as the second single, and that would give the album its distance, and it was just as successful commercially, although it didn't have the media hubbub kind of surrounding it. So we knew that, and we were aware of that, but it was a slightly distorted view of the hits in a way.
I know Roger, when he came through, said he was going to wait for at least a couple of albums, which I thought seemed an eternity in the manner in which you have always recorded. That could be 5 years down the road, but you have a lot to draw from.
Yes. Yeah. We are of kind of two minds about that, too, and, you know, we go through discussions of maybe we should do 2 new albums before we come out on tour, so we can use new material as the backbone for the show rather than
relying on
one album and drawing from our past. But
we want this album to establish itself to a degree, so the public, when they come to our concerts, they know what to expect. It's going to be, the new show will be based around Brother Were You Bound, won't be based around Crime of the Century or Breakfast in America.
I know that there is a certain responsibility that goes with being Supertramp.
Mm-hmm.
Do you accept that responsibility, and how do you define it?
Our responsibility is, we've built it up over the years, I think, of producing something of quality for the people, whether it be the record or the live show. And that is our commitment.
I would think that both of you are caught between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, you crave anonymity where people don't recognize you, and I'm sure you like to be recognized, yes?
I was able to walk into 2 record stores today and little stores and check out, and check out the stock of Supertramp, or just to check out the stores without being recognized. That's kind of interesting. I was an undercover agent.
Let us just for a second talk about videos. You have not been, by any stretch of the imagination, a video group. Can we make this statement?
You can make that statement.
Right. You haven't really taken advantage.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we've done one before these videos for this album, we've done one good video, and that was for My Kind of Lady.
Yeah.
And we had fun. It was a good concept where we shaved off beards and slicked our hair back and looked like a 50s group. And I think that worked really well.
We liked it anyway.
It was fun doing.
Yeah.
Kind of got lost in the wash a bit somehow. People didn't really see it all that much.
Would you like lessons learned in the last 2 years?
I would like to see the next show looking quite stark and hard-hitting, if that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So you viewers out there, if you have any ideas, write them, drop them on a postcard,
Right.
send them to Terry David Mulligan.
Box 4600, Vancouver, BC. We wish you the best.
Thank you.
One lesson learned from all of this, from the last 2 years, did you come away with something that you didn't already know, a lesson learned?
A lesson learned.
Well, to follow your instincts, I think. I mean, the traumas that we went through and the decisions that we made to put us on the path of getting back to the music that we wanted to play, they were the right decisions.
Make the decisions.
And
Hindsight.
follow them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course.
Someone asked
Stick to
me, someone asked me if you could change anything, you know, over the course of the career, and I said, after we toured for Breakfast in America in '79, we kind of knocked ourselves out for a while there because it was such a long and arduous tour. And it took us a long time to get together to make the next album, and I would have shortened that period. I would have sorted it out a lot earlier, you know, with the benefit of hindsight.
As usual, we have a trivia contest for you. The guys will be here in just a second with your question. The prizes include 5 Supertramp album libraries. That's all 9 albums, including the double live album from Paris, 20 autographed Brother Were You Bound albums, and 10 autographed posters, all right? Here are the guys with the question. Listen.
The caveman that plays the lead part in Cannonball played a main part in what recent movie?
And part 2 comes from J.A. Helliwell.
2 Supertramp albums have sold over 1 million records each in Canada. Please name these records.
Nice people.
Hi, Michael Damian. Have you heard the news? There's good rockin' tonight.
I got to tell you, this is a surprise. We weren't expecting this. This is true. But Michael Damian has walked into the studio, and you can't help but sit down and talk to him for a second. Welcome.
How you doing?
You get into Canada quite a bit?
Yeah, lately I have. This is my new home.
Why would you leave the warmth of California to freeze your butt off up here?
I like the weather.
Yeah?
You know, it's always one temperature in LA, mostly, and I like it up here. I like the different cities, the different people. People are quite different than in LA.
What's the difference? Well, I know what the...
you know, they talk to you more. They're a little more...
Polite?
Yeah, polite. I would say if you ask them a question on the street, they don't do the old LA, you know, excuse me, you know. A little bit different, I think.
How about the audiences?
Great. They're really nice. They're very energetic and alive, which is great.
I'm going to ask you a very direct question here. How hot are you? I know that you... No, but how hot are you? You know that you probably judge everything. You know how you're going. Have you got a nice roll going here?
Things are going really well. Television-wise, record-wise, everything. I've got the soap opera is #1 soap opera in Canada and in the U.S. It's doing really well. I'm doing also a nighttime show for the next month, also Facts of Life. I'm singing on that show while doing the Y&R, Young and the Restless. And the album thing is going well. We're touring every weekend when I'm not doing the soap opera. And pretty much I'm booked, you know, 7 days a week. And out of nowhere, tons of film offers for this summer.
But what are they throwing at you?
A lot of different parts. I haven't been very happy with them. I've read them all so far. I haven't jumped up and down and said, wow, this is great. A couple of rock and roll films, but right now I'm just kind of waiting on seeing what happens as far as my deal with Young and the Restless is up in April, and they want to negotiate.
You?
And, well, yes and no. Okay. I do, but I want to see what they're going to offer me.
Okay.
I started singing when I was 11 years old, performing, and piano, classical piano, the vibes, different instruments, and we toured for 6, 7 years with my family, playing the worst clubs, the worst Marine bases, the worst places you could play, and we had a good time, you know. Even in that bad situation.
While you're right at that moment, just before you... The worst gig you ever played?
The worst?
The worst.
You're not going to believe, I can't tell you. Oh,
No?
It was right here in
Vancouver?
It's horrible. It was 8 years ago. We travel up here. We get the whole family together, you know, going from L.A.
Yeah.
We travel in our van all the way up here. We play 1 week. The club owner doesn't pay us. So what do? You know, there's 9 of you up in Vancouver, broke, you know. And so my dad flew up and bailed us out.
Bailed us out.
Yeah, that's one of them. I mean, that's not the worst, but
No,
you know,
okay,
it's not
that's
Vancouver's fault. You know.
All right. So anyway, you travel with
So
the
I
band?
did that, yeah, and had been really singing. Never had my mind on acting, really. Never really thought about it. I had a single in the U.S. called "She Did It," which was in the top 50 of Billboard, and from that I was on American Bandstand. And the producers of The Young and the Restless, you know, saw it that Saturday, had phoned me the next Monday and said, you know, we're doing a soap. You know, we want you to sing on it. And at that time, I didn't know soap operas. I didn't know people watched them. I didn't know there was an audience or anything. And plus, I didn't act.
Yep.
And I told them, you know, I said, I'm not an actor, you know. And they said, well, come down, try it out. We'll just have you on for the summer. And that was 4 years ago. And so right off the bat, singing, of course, I'm more comfortable with. I'm finally, after 4 years, I'm becoming more comfortable with the acting, although I've played one character for 4 years now. So, you know, the challenge is kind of, it's at one level right now. I'd like to peak or do some other level of acting.
Did they come through on their promise to let you sing and you know, work out that?
Yes, they did, although at first it was original music.
Yeah.
And now they've been getting me into commercial music. It's other songs. They wrote a girl into the show who sings with me now, so the singer that sat at his piano writing songs in the first 2 years of the soap opera doesn't exist really anymore. It's now a duet team and practically no original songs I've been doing on the show. I get up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
I've hopefully memorized 19 pages, or semi-have. I go into the set and it's dark in the morning. We go indoors and I come out and it's dark.
Dark. I live
Yeah, so it's very similar, and you're doing all these lines, and sometimes you can't catch up with yourself, so you have to read cue cards a lot. And okay, so there's no audience. It's very quiet. You know, there's very few people ever come on the set. They don't like people on the set. They don't like any publicity on the set. So to get out of there and to do concerts and get on the plane is such a relief. Oh, it's great to have an audience, to perform, to see people. You know, so that's why I really got an excitement about doing this nighttime show, Facts of Life, because of this live audience now. They tape the show in front of a big, you know, 400 people in an audience, and you're acting, and the comedy is so much different. Yeah, so it's, but the singing is very important. It's so important to me, you know. And if it wasn't for the singing, I would never have gotten into the acting, so I have to look at that.
Thank you, Michael. We'll see you tomorrow night at the Queen Elizabeth Theater here in Vancouver.